Greetings. In this video we'll be looking briefly at Gantt charts. At the end of this video you should be able to explain a Gantt chart, list applications which can be used to create a Gantt chart, and accurately draw a Gantt chart using Microsoft Excel. If you are new to this channel, you should subscribe so you do not miss any new videos. Also, if this video was beneficial, please like and share. Thanks. So without further delay, let us begin. Now, what is a Gantt chart? Well, generally speaking, this is a project management tool which assists in task scheduling, right, and the tracking of progress using a graphical format, right. It gives a global vision of a project which is easy to read and follow. So in a nutshell, a Gantt chart is just a graphical chart which is used for visually tracking the progress of task within a project, right. Cool. Now there are a number of applications which one can use to create Gantt charts, but some of the most popular ones are listed here, right? You have Work Zone, for example, Easy Project, Team Gantt, Gantt Pro, right, and others. And there is also Microsoft Excel which can be used, right? However, one thing that you should keep in mind if you are using Microsoft Excel is that Microsoft Excel does not have a Gantt chart template by default. So if you're creating a Gantt chart in Microsoft Excel, you will have to do a little bit more work, right? Just remember that. As stated before, Gantt chart is a project management tool, and in reality most projects have a start date and a end date, right? As such, before creating a Gantt chart, it is important to first identify the time range in which a project should be completed, right? Once this is done, the next step is to identify the task which should be completed throughout the life of the project, right? One thing you can do is write these tasks down in the order they should be completed, right? Now the final step is to use an application to create the Gantt chart or to draw it manually. So just remember that once you're going to create a Gantt chart, what you want to do is to first identify the task that should be completed throughout the life of the project, right? And you're going to write them down in the order that they should be completed, right? Once you have that written down, the next step is to basically go to creating your Gantt chart using one of the Gantt chart applications or to manually draw your Gantt chart, right? Now let's say you're in charge of a project. This is an example, right, for you to better understand the idea of a Gantt chart. So let's say you're in charge of a project which consists of 4 major tasks which must be done for the project to be a success. Now let us assume the tasks are identification of problem, constructing interview questions, carry out interviews, and distribution of questionnaire, right? Let us assume the start date of the project is May 1, 2021 and the end date is June 10, 2021. Now let us see how we would use Microsoft Excel to create a Gantt chart for this project, right? And do remember that I said that Microsoft Excel does not contain a Gantt chart template by default, so you'll have to do a little bit more work, right, compared to some of the specialized Gantt chart applications. You just punch in your task, punch in your start date and your end date, and it will automatically generate your Gantt charts for you. However, Microsoft Excel requires you to do a little bit more work, right? So for this example, right, these are the tasks that we will be using: identification of problem, construct interview question, carry out interviews, and distribution of questionnaire. And the timeline for the project is May 1, 2021 to June 10, 2021, right? So what I'm going to do is pull up a spreadsheet, and I'll show you how you structure your spreadsheet with your task that should be completed along with your start date and your end date, right? So let's jump right into it. So this is an example of how you would structure your spreadsheet. I've gone ahead and typed the data to speed up the process. So what you would do, you would have a column called task, and this is where, as a matter of fact, you can name it anything that you want, but it is best to stick with the title, task. So underneath task is where you would put the task that should be completed throughout the lifespan of the project, right? And you will basically put the task in the order that they should be completed. You know, the first task that should be completed, the second task that should be completed, so forth and so forth, right? Now you will have another column called start date, and this is where you would put the start date for each task, right? You will have another column called end date, and this is where you put the end date for each task. And then you will have a column which is called duration, and basically the duration column is where you minus the start date from the end date, and the value that you get is the duration. So in this case, from May 1 to May 10, there's a gap of 9, right? Cool. Now once you have a table looking like this, it doesn't have to start in the C column, right? You can put it anywhere in your Excel that you want, right? Just know that you're going to have a table looking something like this. Once you have your table looking something like this, what you're going to do now is go ahead and create your Gantt chart, right? So the first thing that you'd want to do is select the data in the start date column. Remember that. So we're going to also select the header, right? So we're going to start at start date, and we're going to select right down to the last data in that table column, right? Then you're going to go to insert, and you're going to charts, and you're going to select bar, right? Then you're going to go to 2D option, and then you're going to go and select the option that is called stack bar, right? Select it. It will insert a chart looking something like this, right? And what you can do at this point is basically move your chart a little bit so you can see a table that you're working with. You can also use these handlebars to basically make your chart a little bit smaller, or you can use the handlebar at the left or the right to make your chart a little bit wider, right? Now once you have your chart looking like this, the next step is to right click anywhere on the chart, right? So I'm going to right click here. Let me click out a bit. So I'm going to right click here, right? And then you're going to go up to select data, right? So I'm going to click select data. Now it will pop up the select data source window. So at our window looking like this, what you're going to do now is select add underneath the legend entry series, this had right here. So I'm going to select it one time. It will pop up the edit series window, which is a window looking like this. I'm going to move it down a little bit so I can see the data that I'm working with. So underneath series name, you have two options. You can either type the name of the field that you're going to use now, or you can select it in the table. So the fields that I'm going to use now is duration, right? So I could either type the word duration here, or I could go into the spreadsheet, and from the table that I created, select the cell that has the word duration in it, right? But for demonstration purposes, I'm going to type duration right here, right? As a matter of fact, you can name it anything you want, but I'm going to stick with the name that is in the table, right? Then you're going to go down to the series value section, and you're going to delete the data that was in it in the text box, right? Now what you're going to do is select the data that is in the duration column. You're not going to select the duration header, I know, but in this case you're going to select the data only. So I'm going to go back to my table, and I'm going to click in the first cell that has the data underneath the duration column. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to highlight right down to the last cell that has the data underneath the duration column, right? Then I'm going to click OK, right? Once I have this, right, I'm going to click OK again, and now your chart should look something like this, right? So at this point in time, what I'm going to do is delete the legend from the chart, right? So I'm going to go over here where I have start date and duration, and I'm going to right click on any one of the phrase. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to click delete, right? Good. It is starting to look like a Gantt chart, but not fully. So what we want to do now is remove these blue bars from the chart, right? So what you can do is select anyone, right select any one of the blue bars. So I'm going to right select anyone. You see, I can click out, and I can right select anyone. Let me click out again just to show you. I can left select and then right select, or I can just right select it directly. Once you do that, you're going to go down to format data series, which is this option here, and you're going to select it. It should pops up the format data series window, right? So you're going to go down to fill, and you're going to select the option no fill. Then you're going to go down to border color, and you're going to select the option no line. Once you do that, you're going to go down and click close, right? And the blue bars should disappear, right? They are there, you know, but they are now transparent, right? You can't see them anymore. now that you have your chart looking like this, the next step is to remove these number from the vertical axis here and put the actual task that should be completed, right? So we have these numbers over here, 1 2 3 4. We're going to replace them with the actual task name, right? Now to do that, what you're going to do is right click on any one of the numbers, right? I'm going to right click on 3 for argument's sake. So I'm going to right click, right? Once you do that, you're then going to go up to select data, right? So click select data once, and it should pops up again the select data source window, right? Now make sure that you select underneath legend entry series, make sure that you select the start date option, right? Then you're going to go over to the horizontal axis labels and you're going to select edit, right? It should pops up the access labels window. Let me move it down so you can see what I'm working with, right? Now the cursor should be blinking in the text box below the access label range text box, right? Now you're going to go to your table that you created and you're going to highlight or select the task. You're not going to include the task header but rather the tasks data. So in this case, I'm going to start at C5, which is identification of problem, and I'm going to highlight right down to distribution of questionnaire, right? Once I have that, I'm going to click OK, right? And then I'm going to click OK again. And you should now realize that the numbers that were there before has been replaced with the actual task name, right? Good. Now while this is getting closer to a Gantt chart, we're not finished as yet, right? Because if you realize the labels are not in the order that they should be completed, right? For instance, distribution of questionnaires should be last and it's at the top in this case. So to correct this, what you're going to do is right click on any one of the task name, anyone. In this case, I'm going to right click carry out interviews just for argument's sake. So I'm going to click on carry out interview. Then I'm going to go to format access, right? So you're going to select format access. The format access window should pops up. Make sure that you're on the access option, right? Underneath the access options, you're going to look for the option that is called categories in reverse order, which is this little option here. So you're going to select it once, right? Once you do that, you're going to close the format access window. So let me close it and show you what happened. So closed, and just like that, the data has been rearranged. So now you have identification of problem at the top, then you have construct interview question, then you have carry out interviews, and then you have distribution of questionnaires. You should also realize that the date was moved to the top of the chart, right, where it's supposed to be. Now one more thing. Now once you have your chart looking like this, there might be a gap between the left column, which is here, and the first bar in your Gantt chart, which is over here, right? So if you look, the data here, or the date here, is the 4th of April, but the first task that you have should begin at the 1st of May. So to correct that, right, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go back to your table that you created, and you're going to go to the start date, right? And you're going to select the first date that is in the table. So in this case, it's the 1st of May 2021 for me, so I'm going to select it, right? Once you do that, you're going to go up to the home tab. Make sure you're on the home tab, right? Then you're going to go to the number group box, which is this group box here, and you're going to click the advanced handle button right here, which is this little button here, and you're going to click it once, right? It should pops up the format cells window, right? Then you're going to select the general option underneath category, which is this option here. So select it. Now this number right here, you're going to write it down on a piece of paper, right? For me, it is 44317. It might be different for you, hence why you're supposed to write it down, right? Now once you write down that number, you're going to select cancel, right? Then you're going to go back to your chart, and you're going to right click on any one of the dates at the top here, anyone. So I'm going to right click on any one of the dates. Then you're going to go down to format access, right? So you're going to select format access, right? And it should pops up the format access window for you, right? Then you're going to go down to the access options, right? Then you're going to go down to minimum option, and you're going to change it from auto to fix. right? So select the fixed option, then the number that you wrote down, right, you're going to type it here. So for me it was 44317, right? Once you do that, you're going to select close, and look what happened. It moves the bar to the extreme left of the chart, and now May 1st is the first day that a task will be completed, right? Now the next thing that you should realize is that the date at the top is a little bit jumbled. You can actually fix that. So again, what you can do is right click on any one of the dates, right? See, any one of the dates, and go down to format access, right? And it should pops up the format access window for you, and then make sure that you're on the access options, and you're going to go down to major unit, right? And you're going to change it from auto to fix. What you can do is tinker with this number and find a number that suits your chart. So I'm going to change mine from 5 to 7 and go back to the chart and show you what happened. Alright, so let me change it. I change it to 7. So I'm going to go back by clicking close. Now look what happened. The date range between the first date here and here is a difference of 7, right? So that is how you can change the gap between the dates to make your chart a little bit easier to read, right? Now one other thing that you can do, now this is practically a Gantt chart, you can stop right here, but one other thing that you can do to make your Gantt chart a little bit more aesthetic, right? You can basically add additional formatting if you want, but at this point in time your chart has been created. So this is an example of how you create a Gantt chart using Microsoft Excel. So let me show you how you could add some additional stylings to this chart to make it a little better, you know. So what I could do is select any one of these red bar here, right, and go to the format option underneath the chart tools, right. I could probably select the shape effects, and I could change it to say glow for argument's sake, right. I could change the color by going up to shape fill and probably change the color to something else. Let me use this color here, right. So you have options. You can change like probably the shape outline, like the color around it, you know, to basically format your chart a little bit to your liking, right? Cool. Now at this point in time you have options in terms of what you do with the chart. Let's say you have a Word document, you can practically just select your right click on your chart anywhere, you can copy it, you can cut it, and then you can paste it to your Word document, or you can move your chart to a new page in Excel. So how you do that is basically right click on the chart and you would select move chart, and you would basically select the location that you want it to go. So let's say I want it to go into a new sheet by itself. I could select new sheet here and I could say okay, Gantt Gantt chart for project, just to give you an example, and you could select OK, and it will move the chart to a sheet on its own, right? So yeah. Oh, one last thing that I want to show you. Do you realize that these two first tasks follow each other, right? However, the last two tasks basically has the same start date and the same end date. This is an example of what you call concurrent task, where they begin at the same time and they end at the same time. So both of these tasks, which is carry out interviews and distribution of questionnaires, will be undertaken at the same time, right after the completion of construct interview question, right? Cool. Now that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Bye.